Hello my darlings, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to go down memory lane just a little bit and tell you guys a few things that I wish I had told myself when writing my first novel. I don't know if these things will really apply to everyone, but these are the things that I wish I would have told myself while writing my first novel. I wrote my first novel when I was about 14 years old. It was a paranormal romance type of novel. It's over 500 pages. I can't even remember how many words, but I know that it was absolutely crazy amount of words, like more words than most novels need, especially that one. But these are the few things that I wish I would have told myself before writing that particular book, since it was my first novel. The one thing I wish that I would have told myself when writing my first novel is the same thing that I feel like everyone should tell themselves when writing their first anything. And that is that first drafts, they don't have to be perfect, guys. They don't. I know that there are a lot of writers out there that prefer to get it as close as possible to being perfect when they write that book, and they will go back and edit, and if that works for you, that's great. But your first draft does not have to be perfect. I went back constantly editing the story and the grammar and the spelling while trying to write my first novel, and I think that it might not have taken me quite as long to write it if I had just written the book instead of worrying about making it perfect, so I didn't have to go back and edit the book. Because even before I had ever edited anything, I already hated it. I also wish that I had known that novels didn't have to be extremely long. I think the pretty much agreed upon number for a novel is 40,000 words. Like I said, I cannot remember exactly what the word count for my first novel was, but I know that it was well over at least 200,000 words. And guys, there are novels that need that, but not every novel needs that. If I were to look over that manuscript now, I can guarantee you that about 100,000 words would need to be cut. And that's not even joking. So I wish that I had known that novels didn't have to be door stoppers. Not every single novel has to be this huge epic quest. It just doesn't. In relation to this particular novel, I also wish that I had told myself that being overly descriptive is not a sign of being a good writer. Back in the day, when I wrote this book, I had just finished reading Twilight. And I was a fan of Twilight as a teenager. Don't at me, okay? I was a fan. One of the things that Stephenie Meyers does is basically describe everything. Okay. My daughter's calling me from the other room. Someone wanted attention. It was Delaney. I wish that I had told myself that I didn't have to be so descriptive. You know, there are only so many ways that we as writers can describe a pair of eyes. Really? There are only so many ways that you can describe someone's dark hair or someone's bright blue eyes. You know, it really doesn't matter, because in my mind now, after having written quite a few novels now, the reader may read that you see this person as a curly-haired ginger with bright green eyes and freckles all over their face. But that doesn't mean that the freckled ginger that they see is the same freckled ginger you see. Often, the reader turns the character into their own version of what they see this character as, especially an I character or the main character. We often envision them as ourselves. So, being completely descriptive about every single part of them is not necessary to write a good book. And now, I personally tend to stay away from describing a character too much. Just every so often, if it's beneficial to the story, I'll say what I think they look like or a trait that they have that I think is important. But more often than not, I leave description completely open for the reader, because I feel like you should decide how you think they look. And I don't like the idea of having characters that only certain groups of people can relate to. I get that sometimes characters should be described in order to make them seem real, but most of the time, how they look shouldn't influence the story. And especially when it comes to like movie especially when it comes to movie tie-in, especially when it comes to like movie adaptations. I feel like I said that word wrong. I hate saying that word. But more often than not, people argue over what this character looked like, and they can't look like this, and they are described like this. And we don't pay attention to whether this person is embodying the character at all. We just care about whether they look like the character. So in my head, one day books will be turned into movies of mine, and I don't care what the person looks like that's playing this character as long as they are playing that character. They don't have to look a certain way, because even I don't envision the characters to look one particular way. They're all just names and personalities to me, not physical people that I see and go, yes, that person looks like a character from my book. Another thing, I feel like this applies to anyone writing a first novel. Don't try so hard to be original. Originality just comes from you. You don't have to try to be original. There was someone that told me that like every horror book can be traced back to a couple of different like subgenres, like haunted, zombie, demons, monsters, that sort of thing. So basically, we're all out here just writing the same theme in our own way. Are you trying to pop Ozzy? So basically, you don't have to worry about being original. Your originality will come from the fact that you are writing this book. You're going to put your own spin on something that's been done before, because everything has been done before. You can always find the bare bones of a project in another project. So you might as well just write the book that you want to write and watch how your own originality takes shape. Really? Really. And the last thing that I wish I had told myself when writing my first book is to have fun. The first one should be the most fun, because you don't know what you're doing. So you might as well do anything. Try anything. Don't worry about sticking to a certain plan. Just have fun. If you want to write this absolutely crazy novel that makes no sense to anyone but you, then write that book. Because we can turn it into something that relates to readers in the editing phase. I don't think a lot of us remember to have fun anymore. And I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why I love my collection, Kill My Darlings, so much. Because when I started writing stories and picking stories to go into that collection, it was after like a year of not writing, or writing and hating every single thing I wrote, and feeling so drained and just hating all of it, hating the process, hating the words, that when finally I just took a step back, my boyfriend suggested that I write a few short stories for a while, worry about making a short story collection, since I was struggling so much with novels. That when I finally took that step back and just wrote a couple of stories that were just for fun, that were crazy, that weren't even particularly for this book, it was just to do something different. It was such a relief. It was just so much fun to pull out these stories from nowhere. And the first story that I wrote, that I knew was writing for this collection in particular, was actually supposed to be a throwaway story. And it had the most awesome title that I can never seem to remember right off the top of my head. But it ended up being changed to Final Girls. So if you've read the collection, you know what title it was. But it was really just supposed to be a story that was fun and gory and bloody and quick, and it ended up being a story that a lot of people that read the collection love. So just have fun, because you actually don't know what the readers are going to like and what they're not going to like. So you might as well just do whatever you want. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope that you are already subscribed to my channel, but if not, hit the button down below. Give this video a big thumbs up and turn on the bell. All of my books and social media are in the description box down below, and I will see you next time. Kisses, my darlings. Wait, Winnie. Wait to do this. Wee.